Thanks very much to the organisers of the Capital Network. I'm delighted to be presenting today, and thank you very much to everybody for taking the time to listen in. I'm looking forward to taking you through the story at Arovella Therapeutics. For those of you that aren't familiar with the company, we're a biotechnology company listed on the Australian Stock Exchange under the ticker ALA. I will be making forward-looking statements, so please do note our disclaimer. And let me just start with the highlights of the company. So we're working on an invariant natural killer T, and it's iNKT cell for short. And I'll explain what that means in a moment. But essentially, it's a way of enabling us to target both blood cancers, and also we are moving into the solid tumor space. So our lead program is called ELA-101, and this is a therapeutic we're developing to tackle cancers that have something called CD19 on their surface, and we're expecting to take that program into clinic in 2024. We believe our platform addresses key unmet or needs that have currently hampered the cell therapy sector. We've built an exceptional team with a lot of experience across drug development and especially across cell therapies. The company has really evolved and been built through strategic licensing or acquisition of what we consider to be some of the best intellectual property worldwide. And as one of a handful of companies globally working on an iNKT cell platform, we do see that we're well positioned for growth with a unique value proposition. So I won't go through all of the team members in detail, but just to say at both management level and board level, we have an exceptional team with experience that spans right the way from very early stage academic research through drug development and then through to commercial transactions for biotechnology assets, both in the therapeutic space and the medical device space. And particularly, again, as I mentioned, in cell therapies, which is very important for this type of therapeutic. Now, in terms of cell therapy, for those of you that don't know, it's often referred to more affectionately as CAR-T. It has enabled us to start using the word cure and cancer in the same sentence for blood cancers because of the promising results. And not surprisingly, the first two products approved in 2017 have already started to generate strong sales as a result of that. And the market is expected to be quite large at more than 60 billion by 2030. Unfortunately for these therapies, not all patients have prolonged durable outcomes. And so we do see that in some cases, 40 to 60% of patients do relapse from post-taking the therapy. Now, this is just a great example of the first pediatric patient that took a cell therapy like this. Now it's 11 years that she's cancer-free post-taking that therapy. So again, just a quick snapshot and highlight of why these therapeutics are gaining so much attention and this class of therapeutic is gaining so much attention. So how do they actually work? So we've got what we call CAR T cells, and the T stands for it's a type of immune cell that's in our body, always floating around, looking to remove things that don't belong, whether it's a microbial infection or a viral infection, or in some cases, cancer cells. So we actually take blood from the patient that's got the cancer, collect the T cells, they go into a lab where they get genetically reprogrammed. And what they end up with is something on their surface called a CAR, which is where we get the CAR in CAR T. And thinking about that like a guided missile, it's now trained to go and recognize something found exclusively on the surface of those cancer cells. And then they get grown up into the millions before being infused back into that patient. And so here, the little green bumps represent something on the surface of the cancer cell, which now the supercharged T cells will find, and then they'll cause destruction of the cancer cells once they do that. So really important here message is that we start from the patient and we finish with the patient. So while we've seen wonderful success with CAR-T, unfortunately, the current workflow it poses significant challenges because we have to start with the patient and finish with the patient. So what that means is it drives up the manufacturing challenges and as a result, the costs. So to take the therapeutic, it's in the order of about $500,000 US per dose. Also because the patient's T cells may have seen cancer or chemotherapy or other types of therapeutic modalities, we believe that also can reduce the fitness or the functionality of that starting material. So we may have a less efficacious product. And also not all treatment centers can actually make the therapy. So there will be a range of patients that could be eligible to take this type of treatment, but they won't actually get access to it. So we're working on what we call a CAR-iNKT cell platform. And the real key value proposition here is that we can actually take the immune cells from a very healthy donor, and then we can actually generate that therapeutic and give it to many patients, which we think will alleviate a lot of the challenges around supply chain. Now, in addition, a CAR-T therapy because we have to make it in real time for everybody, it takes about 4 to 6 weeks. And unfortunately, it does happen that patients can actually die while waiting for that treatment. So that, particularly in cases where the disease is quite aggressive, and because you're actually making it every time, there's always the risk of a manufacturing run failure. So for our iNKT cell platform, the intention is that the material is stored appropriately at very, very cold conditions, like in liquid nitrogen or -80 degrees, and that would be able to be removed, thawed out, and given to that patient. So if they're eligible, they should be taking that therapeutic a lot faster. So very quickly, highlighting what invariant natural killer T cells are, I've briefly introduced T cells as the most well-known for CAR T. There's also another class of cells called NK cells, which are also quite well-known. And we focus on iNKT cells. Now, why we're so interested in them is they actually bridge the two halves of the human immune system, the innate or the fast-acting immune system, as well as the adaptive, which is the more prolonged or durable part of our immune system. They can actually kill like a T cell or an NK cell. And in certain cancer types that have something called CD1D on their outside, they actually naturally already target and kill these cancers. Now, really importantly for us, unlike T cells, they don't cause what we call graft versus host disease, and that's what enables us to be able to give them from a healthy donor to many patients. In addition to that, they actually have a number of other anti-cancer properties, such as shaping what we call the tumor microenvironment, and they also have the ability to stimulate other immune cells to join in the fight against the cancer cells. So in terms of the commercial landscape, when we look at the T cell and NK cell spaces, they are quite crowded. There's a lot of companies and a lot of clinical trials ongoing. But when we look at the iNKT cell space, it's really just a handful of companies operating in this particular sector. So it's great that we've managed to carve out a niche area in a very high value area for oncology treatment in cell therapy. Now, I won't go through all these transactions in detail, but certainly important to note here that despite the challenges that have faced the biotech sector for over the last 24 months, we still have seen quite a number of licenses, acquisitions, or collaborations. And also for all of these phase 1 technology, which was at phase 2 clinical trial stage, or preclinical, we still see some quite sizable deal terms, some in the order of hundreds to $200 million upfront payments for entering into those particular arrangements. Now, in terms of Arovella, our financial position, we're currently capped at around 81 million. As at the end of September, we had $5.32 million cash in the bank, and that does not include the $2 million that we're expecting to receive before the end of this year as part of our R&D tax rebate. We're delighted that our largest shareholder is Merchant Group. They've been very supportive and continue to be supportive of the company and our activities. And we also have a number of high net worths and also smaller institutions that have been quite supportive of what the company is trying to achieve. So over the course of 2023, we've seen a pretty solid performance in terms of share price appreciation. But of course, we're always looking to welcome more investors to the register that understand both the risks, but the potential rewards that can come with an investment into the biotechnology sector. So in terms of our pipeline, we have now a few shots on goal. Our main program, ALA-101, which we're looking to take into patients with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or CD19 producing leukemias or lymphomas. We've combined that with another company's oncolytic virus called Imugene, and delighted to have that as it gives us a shot on goal by using both platforms together to tackle a range of solid tumors. And we're also continuing to acquire and license new technologies from groups such as the Spark Group, which we announced a few weeks back, and also MD Anderson, which we announced quite some time ago for our DKK1 program, but again, giving us multiple shots on goal for targeting solid tumors. And we've also got a cytokine technology, which we will strengthen the entire platform against solid tumors. And we've got that option from the University of North Carolina. So in terms of our milestones and news flow for the next, say, 12 to 18 months, our key goal is to take ALA-101, our lead program, into clinical trials in 2024. So to do that, we're working through the manufacturing stages, and we expect to be providing some updates on that work before the end of the year, which is quite exciting. And then the next step is to take that to start making the material for clinical trials in the first half next year and have the material being prepared to submit to regulators like the TGA or the FDA. In terms of our other early stage proof of concept programs, we expect to get data for the collaboration with Imugene before the end of the year. And we're continuing to look at additional technologies such as the cytokine technology, which is currently under option to license into the company. And so over the course of the first half next year, we'll continue to generate proof of concept data to look for activity of the iNK T-cell platform in a range of solid tumor models. So in summary, we have a really exciting CAR-iNK T-cell platform, which is quite unique worldwide. We believe this will have a very big impact in alleviating the challenges that currently plague the cell therapy sector from a manufacturing perspective. Now, we know that the iNK T-cells have multiple anti-cancer properties, which we're excited to test in both blood cancers and solid tumors. Delighted that we're looking to take our lead product, ELA-101, into clinic in 2024. And as I've just alluded to, we continue to license in new technologies that help us to expand our pipeline in a very focused manner for solid tumors or tumors that we're interested in. And for all these reasons, we do see that Arovella is sitting in a very good position and well poised for growth. And with that, I'd just like to say thank you again for your attention and to the Capital Network for putting on the event. Thank you.